need a motion, approval of the minutes for the Board of Ed meeting that we had on May 7th, 2025. Jim and Stacy, all in favor?
Aye.
Board of Ed items. Peter, do you have any Board of Ed items?
Just briefly, I'll give more of a report to the board and a memo, but the legislative session is over. School board has put a report out, but I just got, so I wasn't able to really digest it. We'll get that to the board. The resolutions process with NISBA is underway. As I did last year, I will forward all the materials for that, any input, feedback you have on some of the resolutions they're proposing. I'd appreciate so we can get our vote recognized there. And if anyone's got thoughts on what maybe we want to introduce a resolution, I haven't come up with one, but you never know, in the middle of a sleepless night might do that.
I understand.
The only other two things is to encourage folks to look at the leadership conference coming up August 1st and 2nd here in Albany. The school boards, great opportunity for us to learn and be together, and the annual conference again in New York City on the 23rd to the 25th of October. You just kind of keep that in your thoughts.
And Peter, I wanted to ask about the student representative on the board. There was some recent documentation that came out by NISBA, but I wasn't able to read it. I don't know if you had read about the concerns about the student members on the board with confidentiality.
I did read it, and I can't recite it back to you, but
all right.
yes. Are we, I forgot when we put that up for, is that a July vote, or is that a?
That's on my mind, but I needed to go back and look at that. Yeah, we did.
Dom has identified the candidate we were trying to get him to come tonight for an introduction, but we were unable to.
So we're underway.
We adopted it, I think, 2
Yeah.
meetings ago.
That's what?
I
We
think we
did adopt
adopted
it, but I
2
didn't know
meetings
if you remembered. I skimmed it, but I apologize. There was some information that came out, just considering some items when you discussed them at a board meeting with having a student on the board member, so we can look at that. Do you have any additional board items, consideration items, assignment actions? No? All right, we're going right on to our reports. Our first one is administrative internship.
Thank you for allowing me to work here and present and do my admin internship this past year. I get to be as an instructional tech coach, Jack, and I can help out a little bit everywhere and do the best that I can to support us. This past year, some of the highlights include working on the regionalization documentation, which is something we have to do, I believe, 3 or 5 years, I forget on the exact, but I help put all the information together, communicate, and work on that documentation. I scheduled our computer-based testing rooms and accommodations, making sure kids are in the right placement. We had teachers close enough to each other, they didn't have to go to other locations. One of the things I'm most proudest about is this past bullet, which is our literacy briefs. New York State had passed a new law regarding our literacy briefs, how we teach literacy 2 grades pre-K 3. With Amy, she purchased, when she was still here, purchased some training, kind of fell. In January, we realized we had 3 days, 3.5 days. I was able to schedule a person from Quester to come in, work with pre-K through 3rd, and I was trying to figure out how do we do internal PD and have subs for it, and the subs are a little bit of an issue. And it was Shaylin who came up with the amazing idea of, I know she has them, of the idea of, hey, why don't you take all the kids outside and they have the PD. So I ended up taking kids outside for 3 days, and I was blessed with great weather on all 3 days. The benefit of this was the fact that after the 3 days, they learned about the literacy briefs. We have attestation, which means how are we meeting the briefs with our grades and making sure we're consistent. And that we also have created we have a pacing guide for writing for pre-K through 3rd. And now, it's hard to visualize a pacing guide for pre-K, but it's basically getting them to verbalize so we can start the writing later on in kindergarten, and that idea, and they've come up with some cool themes, and we worked on that today. I was called coach by Palmer multiple times on this, where I was wearing a hat and a whistle and trying to rope 70 kids with just the assistant Jacob Jones a lot, and it was a productive day. It was a fun day, long day. From there, I was able to take 3 team members, myself, Tammy Verhagen, and Shannon Kerr, to work on our attestation, which is getting the briefings, and I picked really key people on this. Tammy is our literacy person, and she works with all of them, but Shannon Kerr has experience in pre-K, kindergarten, 2nd and 3rd, so she kind of knew what was going on and helped us get a really good start, and the attestation's due September 1st. We still have work on that. move forward. But having those people there and our work with Kristen Phillips of Questar was really essential to moving the needle. So how we meet the standards, the creation, have been working on our SEP for the high school, which is our school continuous education plan with other teachers. And I'll be taking that and moving it into a DSIP and kind of tying it all together, making sure we get the right funds so we can move some stuff that we are trying to do with the needle. And the last thing you might see my name a lot on is stuff that I post on our social media and on our website. I try my best to highlight the amazing things that we do here with our staff and our students, and I try to get that out there as much as possible. So thank you for giving me the time to present to you and do my job here. I really love it here, and we have amazing people. Do you have any questions on what I discussed?
The internship is complete. However, Jason has been less like an intern, more like an extra administrator with the roles he's played. So big kudos to you for helping us all out.
Thank you.
Thank you. And today I took pictures of some of the fun stuff our kids were doing while I was outside with them. They played some soccer, some football. Not too many kids were called to the nurse. Not once. We had some football there, and we had some playground. We had some minor injuries. Oh, we found some slugs. And we had a playground. We were on the yellow because we could wipe that down and the puddles weren't too large. But it was a fun day. We were out there 6 hours. Today, teachers got an hour and 15, all grades except grade 3, because they did not get the first day because they had testing that week. They had an hour and a half window. We did have to bring a couple kids inside to watch movies at the end because they were toast and it was hot out. But the weather held out.
I wonder if they're in bed already.
Yeah, sleep well.
Any other questions?
No.
I was told to keep it short. I'm sorry, Sylvia.
The feedback from the teachers on this opportunity has been overwhelmingly positive. Because it's really hard for us to carve out PD time during the day. Lack of subs and lack of supervision. So it's very nice.
And Kristen Phillips is probably, she's new to Questar this year, she's probably doing a great job with that, right?
She is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we learned that in her role next year, she will not
Yeah.
be returning, but the staff loved her. I loved the information she got to provide. She said our staff were hungry for this. And she said she's willing to assist us a little bit over the summer to get us
Nice.
moving the needle a little bit more. So hopefully we can finish out the curriculum completely for the staff. It's just rearranging and kind of doing some slight modifications for our writing. We're after Amy helping move the needle with our reading, with really great reading, trying to move the needle further so that way we can have the progress moving all the way through K-12. Great K-12.
All right, alumni, right?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? So I'm here today to talk a little bit about the Hometown Heroes Wall that has been newly painted. Tessa Kent and Bill Harrison were really the people behind this wall to highlight the Rensselaer people, Rensselaer residents, Rensselaer alumni who have served. And so with the wall being repainted, all of the posters had been taken down. And so they're getting ready to put them back up. So what we were trying to do was look for ways to make it a little bit more permanent. Now, Mr. Kardash came to our meeting and explained that they've priced out the situation and figured that it would be approximately $3,000 to make sure that the pictures are protected. And while we can't fund the whole thing, we would like to present the school district with a check for half, so $1,500 to try to set that project in motion.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So we also found out today that they will be coming on the 27th for the foundation for the monument.
The Veterans Monument.
They're in contact with Teresa, so Teresa took over on that because I was trying to be the middle person, calling back and forth. But yeah, it's just, the weather has just been awful, and they've been so backed up with their foundations that they've had to pour for all the monuments and stuff
And the cool thing, I'd like to just note that the Gerald O'Neill Post and also the Casey Frankowski Memorial Fund, they
Very generous.
were very generous and funded the base of monument that we've made. So when the time comes, we hope to have a ceremony where we can have everyone here to for the monument opening.
So they'll pour the base on the 27th, as long as the weather's okay, and then the following weekend is 4th of July, so she said maybe the week after that, they will bring the monument over and place the monument, and then maybe September, when everybody's back in school and stuff, we'll do a nice ceremony for it.
That's where we are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bill, you're next.
All right, we're gonna do a little wrap up on spring sports. I'm gonna jump around a little bit though, because obviously people have seen me post in various things. We had an athlete doing phenomenal this year, track and field, George Kraus, sectional champion, Patroon champion, was participating in the state championships in pole vault, and unfortunately his pole broke while he was going up. He was injured pretty badly. I think one of the positives out of it is where it was, because it's such a big event. There's so many people on hand that immediately trainers were called. People were right there to take care of him. So it was very scary. I was there. I went down to check it out. I was sitting with Mom when it happened. Very scary, but he's very well taken care of right then. A lot of people take care of him. Brought to the hospital, home up here, and at home now, doing pretty well. It'll be day by day, I'm sure, but yeah, George had a great season. Fortunate to have it go like that, but it's one of those freak things. Luckily, he's doing very well now. Other spring sports are Motti girls softball went undefeated. Brianna Fitzgerald finished up a very awesome softball career. Holds, I think, 6 records now, various home runs, RBIs, and things. We did a nice signing day for her. It was a good modified team at the game that day. They were all around. Her travel coach came, some teachers came down, so that was really nice. She's going to play at Buck State next year. And this past Sunday, she actually had to play in a 518 Futures game with all the best players in the area. So I talked to Mom today, said she had a lot of fun with that. And I forgot to put one on here. I don't want to miss it. It wasn't out yet when it happened, but Josh Kretschmar, we did the merge team. He went and pitched very well, and actually was named a first-team All-Star for the independent schools. So it was a pretty good spring season. Thank you to the coaches and parents, and definitely maintenance staff around here that got fields ready when possible to play, which was tough this spring. And we had our awards ceremony recently. I actually thank Jackie Leonard, who gets everything ready for me and helps that night of. It was a nice event. Congratulations, we had a lot of different kids win some nice awards, particularly some of the scholarships were given out. I want to thank the Leahy, Wilkinson, Hogan, and Whitford families who always continue to give us money towards those. And then the Rensselaer Knights of Columbus and RA gave out some really nice scholarships for us. So it's always nice for our seniors to kind of see some reward for what they've been doing over the time. Fall sports signups are underway in the nurse's office. A little slow right now, so hopefully kids get in there, or even just email. I always put it out on the messages, just email Tammy and she'll get them signed up. So, and then there's signs all over. Justin Kaywood's doing some soccer workouts in the summer. Coach Alonzo will be in for some of those. We did a football mini camp this past week. Really good turnout. We had 22 kids go up with us to Columbia. The night we went up to scrimmage and went really well. They had a ball. Give out like 28 sets of equipment, so we had kids in and out all week, which is really nice to see. So, yeah, that's where we're at going into summer. Any questions for me?
Are you doing more football camps over the summer?
We'll do some weight room stuff, and then August we'll see what the feedback's like. But it's tough with vacation.
Yeah.
So I'll get the weight room dates out next week. I'm waiting to see what coaches can open with mornings. So, and that's open to anybody, not just
I'm not
footballers.
coming both ways, just so we're clear.
That's open to any of our student athletes. It doesn't have to be football players, not at all.
I know we were able to send about 20 students to the home run derby on Monday night, a little late because we got some free tickets, so they got to see older kids in action, and it was really nice, they
actually, the first item, I mean, you guys all saw the May 31 budget status report, but the first item is more something that I wanted Sylvie to talk to you guys about. There's a transfer that you guys are moving as a resolution tonight to move some funds to fund a small security project, which gratefully Sylvie is here to give you guys all a little bit more detail on that project.
So this is something that, Peter, if this all sounds familiar, you can take a nap. So the safety and security project is an upgrade of our existing access control system. For most people, you're not gonna know what that means. Hopefully, Jim, you understand what that is. But access control is basically our door system, the swipes that we use, the badges, the controllers that all the wiring and hardware and everything connects to, the door contacts, the door release system that we use currently for timed entrance. So on a night like tonight, people come in, we unlock the doors from whatever time to whatever time, and at 8 o'clock or whatever time we set, doors automatically lock. It also ties into our lockdown system, which is currently sort of a manual process. When we go through the lockdown right now, somebody from IT is actually sitting in here during our lockdown drills. And we actually have to go into that access control system and hit a button that says lockdown, which then will lock down all of the access control doors, which means that nobody that has a badge can get in except for first responders. So that's all what ties into the access control system. But again, this is an aging system. It's not since the building was built, but it's upwards of 10 years old. But there's also components that are original since the building was built. So it's a piece or a portion to kind of upgrade that safety and security piece for the building and for our staff and students. The upgrade is going to put us into more of a cloud-based platform, or it will be a cloud-based platform. Right now, we've got hardware that's failing, that's aging, whatever. We need to replace it every so many years. This takes all that infrastructure away, moves it into the cloud. You're going to still have the pieces and parts that go to the doors and the door contacts and the wiring, but everything, the back end, is going to be in the cloud so that we don't have that hardware or servers or stuff to maintain going forward, and it'll be less of an expense to maintain that. The second piece to that is an upgrade and replace of our intrusion system. So when you say intrusion, that's our security system, our alarm system for the building. So somebody tries to get in, after hours or the weekend or something like that, it sets off an alarm, if they were to break in or whatnot, or somehow get a door open and send an alarm to the monitoring company, who would then call first responder police, whatnot, come check it out. Actually, there's a whole setup for that call tree. It goes to somebody within the district first, and we say, hey, we have no idea what's going on, then they'll dispatch police.
Usually it's the coaches that screw that up.
The other piece is, at this point, because of the age of that system, I'm pretty sure is original to the building.
Yes.
And with the change in IT staffing and support over the how many ever years, we really don't have an accounting of who's got access to the building or who's got alarm codes. There's a sheet that we have that has been maintained, it's a spreadsheet, so it's only as good as somebody that's maintained it for however long. So really, there's a handful of names on there, but unless somebody's gone through and actually updated the system, there's no way to, and the only way to update the system is at the pin pad that's on the wall that you use to disarm and arm the building. So my guess is it's probably full of people that have retired or left the district or whatever. So this will give us also another way to maintain that. We'll have names, we'll be able to disable people. It'll be web-based so that you have
actual front end for it.
Right, right.
Yes.
Not just pushing buttons and hoping something works. So all of that goes into, it's all the same system. It's going to be tied into the access control. The last piece that isn't part of this project is going to be something that we're going to hopefully fund through Smart Schools in the next year or two. That's another piece that we can talk about later. But the last piece is cameras. Again, kind of an aging system that we have here. Cameras are
Some are newer, some are upwards of 10 years old. The servers are definitely kind of band-aided along for now. There's lots of challenges with the cameras. Some of the administrators know that. Clark, our SRO, has mentioned that the cameras are, and I've seen it myself, the cameras aren't capturing everything, so you'll see footage of, somebody walking down the hall, and I was a perfect example of this. I'm walking down the hall and, like I do frequently, find a puddle of water that I step in, and I slipped and fell, and we're looking for the video, and there's no video, but you can see me in the hallway, and then I'm standing up, walking away, I was fine.
If
But
there's no video.
You deleted it?
I did delete it.
You were lucky.
Yeah.
I wasn't lucky.
I frequently find water throughout the building. That's my second job.
Divining rod.
We thank you for
Diviner,
that.
that's what I was
So
gonna
the second, so like I said, the last piece or the third piece to that is tying the cameras into that. And this will all be under one platform where you can tie, camera events to doors opening or an alarm system going off or an alarm, being triggered, and then you can go to the camera that's tied to that alarm and the door that was used. And so it'll kind of close that loop for making things, investigating things in terms of entry, burglary, whatever, slip and falls or whatnot, a lot easier. The nice thing with all this is there's AI behind it. So when you're searching for something, you're not just looking for a time and date, you're looking for, red truck, something that we actually used when our SRO got sideswiped in the parking lot. You can actually look at, a person with a black backpack or something like that. And it pulls up that footage a lot quicker than going through hours of footage, like scrolling through a timeline or entering time and whatnot. So something will make our lives a lot easier in terms of managing the safety and security of the building. The lockdown piece right now, as I mentioned, is a manual process. We have panic buttons that you push in 6 locations throughout the building, the offices, PPS suite, various locations, SR's office. When you hit that lockdown button right now, all it does is make a announcement over the PA system. Then IT goes and hits the button that says lock down the doors and whatnot. With the new system, we'll be able to integrate all that so that when you hit that lockdown button, it actually does what it's supposed to do in locking down the doors and, shutting everything off until
We
we
have that at the airport.
release that. Yeah.
We've got a duress system like that. It also contacts the police.
Yep, same thing. Yep.
Yeah.
It's wireless up there.
Yeah.
So
So
I
right
used to
now,
work on
all
it.
of that is a manual process.
That's not great.
Right, so this is a significant upgrade,
Mhm.
clearly, and necessary.
I have to ask, and at the risk of betraying my age, is there any downside to it being in the cloud for hacking issues or?
No, so even if the internet connection goes down, all the hardware that's here is still running. So just like our current system, if the server goes down, everything will continue to work, the badges and everything will continue to work. In terms of safety and security, this is a system that multiple districts in the area are already using. So we're covered there.
Is there any redundancy for communications to the outside?
They have a cellular backup.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you, Sylvie, appreciate that. So as we're nearing the end of the fiscal year, one of the things that I asked the board to do in June is to review and approve the fund balance and reserve plan. This is a 6-page report, and I promise to try to keep it as short as possible, but for purposes of the audit, I need to have a formal 6-page report. So first up, the workers' compensation reserve, and this is, just as you would suspect, this is funding that would be available to cover any of our claims. And this is at a level to what the actuary has deemed the discounted liability. So we are fully covered. That reserve is actually not changing compared to last year this time. So that's gonna remain at the $190,435. Fortunately, we did not have to tap into that this year. So that will stay. The next reserve is reserve for accrued employee benefits. This is to pay for unused accumulated leave time that's contractually provided to certain collective bargaining groups. And this would typically pay for unused sick and vacation pay. If you want to scroll down a little bit, it's on the second page. Sorry, I should have told you that. 6/30/24, the balance was $886,000. We are not tapping into the reserve this year. Any of the retirement incentives that we owe this year will come out of the general fund. Fortunately, we have the funds available to do so. But we are increasing that to the tune of $1,325,067. And that is a direct reflection of recently bargained agreements. That's the reason for the increase. Of course, this is also, I also have to make assumptions about the number of sick days our employees will have at the time of retirement. So there are assumptions here based on the number of sick days that each individual gets annually, average amount that they use annually, and how many they will accrue over the lifetime of their career to calculate out for how much their payout will be. And if anybody would like to see that, I'm happy to share the spreadsheet.
Okay.
Moving on to page 3, that's the capital reserve. This is what we established last year during the May vote. We had asked the voters to approve us up to $9 million for a capital reserve. They did accept that and approve that. So last year, as of 6/30/24, we were able to fund the capital reserve to the tune of $3.8 million. And as per the capital project in the agreement, we are utilizing $3 million of that for the capital project. So we used, even though it hasn't been spent down yet, we've been using a portion of those funds as of 6/20/25. As of 6/30/25, I will be funding that up to the maximum allowable limit. Until I actually officially close out the books, I do not have a final dollar amount on that. But you will see that once the audit is complete, you'll see the dollar amount. Moving on, the debt service fund. This was first funded in 2022. So for the past several years, we've been utilizing this to pay the debt, the certificates of participation on the building. So the actual balance is, as of 6/30/24, was $4.8 million. That was the exact amount of the 24-25 debt on the building. And this year we used $3.7 million of that. So the remaining balance as of the date of this report is just over $1 million. So I am recommending that we restore the funds in the amount of $4,815,400, and that is to meet the 25-26 debt payment. That's the exact amount of the debt payment for 25-26.
I'm sorry if this is a silly question. Is there any, what would be the reason, and it's a very small jump, it's only, looks like less than $7,000, but is there any reason why it's different this year than last year?
Yes, because the debt on the building increases generally every year. We pay more interest.
Okay, that's what I
Yes.
was wondering about.
Yep, so it'll go up a little bit.
But it's negligible.
Until the debt is paid.
I got you.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Yep. No, I appreciate the questions. Unassigned fund balance is the fund balance that we are allowed up to a maximum of 4% of the following year's budget. So we are permitted to have an unassigned fund balance, which means that these are unrestricted. We can use them for any purpose. And the maximum allowed is 4% of the 25-26 budget, which equals $1,365,220. I am asking that we are able to restore up to a maximum of 4%. Doesn't mean that we'll land there, but that's our maximum. And then assigned fund balance, which is what's appropriated for next year's budget. This was actually already in the budget for 25-26 and approved by both you guys as the board and the voters. We anticipate that balance for 6/30/25 will be $1,339,878, and this is reflected in the 25-26 approved budget. Any other questions? I did go through that very fast.
I love that we have savings accounts now.
Yes, it is wonderful to have reserves and fund balance and savings and to have them growing.
Absolutely.
4 years ago it was.
It was crying, leaving here crying.
You were here.
To have savings accounts, that's a big deal. And it's
Very
a lot
different
of money.
story.
It's not like $5.
Yes, and we are fiscally sound enough to do a safety and security project that the district desperately needs.
And an upgrade.
Yes. The next thing I wanted to mention, as I do on a monthly basis at this point, is give you an update on the EFS roof capital project. The team is now discussing a high-performance coating that's gonna go on the split-face CMU wall, which is that brick-looking facade on the building. So rather than tearing all of that off and putting up panels or any prefab article, we would actually put a high-performance coating on it. So right now, before we make a final decision on that, on whether or not we're gonna put a coating on it, and when I say coating, that's not only preserving it, but also a different color. It would be in the gray, as we had anticipated. But this would significantly save on time and money.
Love the idea. What kind of durability are we gonna get out of this
My
coating?
question.
Oh, that was Teresa's first question, I'll tell you that much.
We graduated together. So.
Yes, exactly, 10 to 15 years. So they think that it will last at least 10 years before we would have to even touch it up again.
Can you reseal it?
Yes.
Is that like a resealable thing later, 10 years from
Yes,
now? Okay.
yes, so we would basically do it again.
Just keep resealing.
No-brainer.
Like
Yes.
marble ground on top.
We would basically do it again. So our concern was just making sure that there isn't any moisture behind that, in between that
Seal it in.
facade and the CMU. So we are having Wayne Chef? Yes, they're,
Gary Wayman.
they're, local vendor, which is fantastic. Our construction manager actually found them, and he's way out west, but he found them, a local company that's gonna come and test the area and make sure that it's durable enough behind and there isn't any moisture behind to make sure that this is a viable option.
They're a great local firm, local guy. I went to school with his kids too.
Rob Stone, I think his name is. Is that who you worked
It
with?
was, no, this was Jerry Wayman, who's, actually, he might not even be alive anymore. He is alive? He's old now. I went to school with his daughter, so.
Okay, so the gentleman that we're working with is Rob Stone. So he's supposed to come, we're trying to get a date for him to come out when the weather cooperates and, with the
Sealing it
school
was what
schedule
was
makes
thinking
sense.
hard.
For them to come out and do a test area, probably in the backside of the building by the gyms.
That's awesome that you found this solution too,
Yep.
because it was bugging the hell out of me last year when we were talking about it, remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're all gonna have to
Absolutely.
come up with umbrellas, just stand over top of them so they can see the.
There you go.
Yes.
That's our new
Now
job.
that we live in Seattle.
That's our job. Yeah, you're not.
So that's the latest on the roof project. And we did do an infrared scan. We had a vendor come and do an infrared scan last week. They had to do it at night. They had to wait for the sun that thankfully had come out for a day to heat up the roof, and then they did an infrared scan. So then that will become part of the evidence that will go to SED when all of the forms are submitted.
Awesome.
I have
Really good.
two more things. Leah Harris, our food service director, asked me to give you some highlights on the food service budget. Unfortunately, she's not able to be here. Her sister is getting tenure down at Taconic Hills, so she wanted to be there for that, so, which I said she should. So just a quick highlights for food service for next year. I'm just gonna read this if you don't mind. We're currently short-staffed and are budgeting for 3 new food service handlers. With more staff, we'd be able to open a made-to-order wrap and salad station, as well as a coffee cafe. This would be for both the students and the staff. Extra help would also allow food service to continue fresh fruit and veggie program, the after-school snack program, and staff meal service on Wednesdays. Leah says having more hands in the kitchen will help everything run smoother and allow us to better serve both students and staff. Leah would like to promote one of her food service handlers to a kitchen group leader position. This would help with leadership in the kitchen and support day-to-day operations. She says we're seeing growth in our reimbursement and expect that to continue. She says she has lots of new menu ideas and can't wait to show everyone some exciting new products for next year. As far as equipment, she is planning to invest in a coffee machine that can make lattes, espresso, and more. She'll also be purchasing 1 or 2 additional ice cream freezers. We're switching vendors because the vendor that we currently have lost the bid, so we have to switch vendors. And the vendor who lost the bid, of course, wants his ice cream coolers back, so we may have to purchase a couple of ice cream coolers. And that's all Leah had.
Will it have iced coffee capabilities?
Probably. Knowing Leah, we'll probably do everything.
Are the kids cut off after one?
Yeah.
One coffee for the kids and that's it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Just trying to think of the
I
number.
would-
Don't give mine any.
I
gonna say Rocco on
There's an
coffee,
age limit,
that's a
it's gotta
scary
be for
thing.
high school, and they're not gonna give them.
I think this is more of like a high school thing to entice them to get breakfast too.
Well, they come in with their Starbucks and Dunkin' anyway, right? Let's
Right.
face it, so.
Right, so the
Yeah.
high schoolers are.
I
I mean, my daughter does. And then last, if you don't mind, this wasn't on the agenda, but I really want to recognize Bill Harrison, our, one of our cleaners. He is retiring effective June 30th. I just have so many wonderful things to say about Bill. He's so loyal and dedicated. He's been with us for many years. I mean, it comes as no surprise that he is a wonderful soul with a kind heart because he's also Santa every year. He plays Santa at a lot of local places. And he also is our in-house trainer. He's the one that trained all the guys on the floor machine and got everything going. So we wouldn't be where we are today without him. So he will be missed, but we wish him well in his retirement.
Mr. Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the hometown heroes.
Yes, 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 yes.
And he is, he's great.
Yeah, he's behind all of that, yeah.
Yeah, we love him.
Thank you for letting me add those two things.
That was important.
All right, next on the agenda, all right, Jeff Palmer, what do you got, Jeff, for elementary?
Yeah, just a couple of quick highlights. Want to recognize a bunch of people that really supported a lot of events. Earlier in the month, we had our final concert, so I always like to kind of give a shout out to Mr. Hosley as well as his students. As I say every time, the improvement from beginning of the school year to the end, it's monumental, so a lot of credit goes to him. The very next day, we had field day. It was pretty hot, but well attended. I want to give credit to Coach Bailey and certainly a lot of people going to making field day as successful as it is, but he did a real nice job putting that together. We were able to have another successful color run. I want to say this is maybe our 4th or 5th one. We finally were able to find a time where it wasn't raining on a Saturday. So I want to credit Ms. Fisher and the PTA as well as Cal Suthers for making that successful. I wasn't able to attend myself, but I heard that it was well attended.
It was.
The kids had a lot of fun. Last week, we did have our graduating seniors walk through the building with our pre-K students, which is always a nice moment. Very memorable for everyone. So my understanding is that went well. And I'm very much myself looking forward to this Friday. We will be having an awards program for students in grades 3 through 5. Always nice to recognize our students for their positive achievements. We'll be recognizing specifically students of high character, students for their high levels of effort, their academics, as well as attendance. So I signed quite a few certificates, so we have a lot of students to recognize on Friday. And more recognition next week. We will, of course, have our pre-K and kindergarten moving up ceremonies. Pre-K will be on Wednesday and kindergarten the following day on the 26th. So a lot of really good things happening. I didn't mention it, but I will kind of add on a little bit. Just want to recognize all the field trips that have been taking place, specifically the last couple of months. I think I touched on it last year, was the district's commitment to provide more positive opportunities for our students in terms of field trips. That continued again this year. So certainly credit to you guys, the district, as well as Megan for providing these opportunities for our kids, because the feedback from the students as well as their teachers has been pretty positive about how cool it's going. Now, today, the bus got stuck in the mud on the field trip and didn't go as well, but those things happen, but didn't want to leave that out. So that's all I have. No, literally, the bus got stuck in.
Oh, yeah, it did. I got some clothes to wash. Anyway. Let's find out, pull it out of there.
Heard a video?
Jeff, you do have a retiree I saw this evening on the agenda. I don't know, I just wanted to say Mrs. Gomes, I can't even tell you how.
Oh, my
I
goodness,
mean,
no, really?
that she, I don't know how long she has been here.
She was here when I was
Before the
here.
building, before the building.
40 years.
No, she was here in '83 or so. I was in high school when she was a young hot teacher.
To be clear, Mary
She's
was honor me.
been here more than 40 years.
Oh, she's sixth grade.
But,
I'm
but
sorry,
I'm
Jeff.
glad- I'm glad you mentioned it, though.
Dom.
And I don't want to take from Dom, but
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned it because,
Sixth grade.
yes, she's been here that long, and just the utmost respect for Mary Lou, and really quite sad to see her. If you watch the kids, they gravitate to her, and you would think after that many years, maybe you would lose touch with that, but that is not the case. Bends over backwards for the kids. They 110% respect her, so she will definitely be missed. So while she's not technically under me,
That's
she
right.
was for a while.
Yeah.
But thank you for reminding me of that, for sure.
So I'm on there now.
She was here in 82 or 83, I don't know what you got her.
Good lady.
Yes, big
All
time.
right. Thank you, Jeff. All right, high school.
Yeah, so we got just a couple, I'll keep it quick. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, you want to pop up the discipline? So if you see, we look like we stabilized a little bit towards the end of the school year with our overall fractions. Almost meeting, well, a little bit over the numbers from last year. Detentions did skyrocket, and there's a reason why. We were without an ISS person for 6 weeks.
Yeah, month and a half.
So I was doubling as ISS, but I also was given multiple detentions if it was an ISS. And I want to commend our school aides, because we would stand out at the bus and corral those kids to try to get them to go to detention and bring them back into the school. It was a process. Sent homes almost equal, and our ISS numbers did come down because of the lack of the ISS person. So they're kind of meeting where we were last year. Again, Alt Ed stayed put. It's been a useful tool. Instead of suspended, the Alt Ed teachers take the Alt Ed students for the day and keep them in that wing. And you can take a look out of our OSS and our superintendent. Again, almost. I do foresee after the big bubble we had at the beginning of the school year that we will stabilize next year, and those numbers will return to where they were the previous year. And just to get down off the hook, I requested that he does not say anything about me. So, we had a long day, so during my last board meeting, so I'm gonna take him off the hook right now. That's my request.
Sounds good. So, then just a couple other things, graduation we have coming up, so, next Wednesday, June 25th, 7 o'clock in the auditorium, to watch Stacy. Yeah, be up on stage for a little bit, crying, so, just graduation is the big event for our kids, so, I know the teachers are doing a great job getting teachers there and stuff like that, and I'm really excited for this year's graduation. The other thing we have is summer school. Our summer school program will be up and operational full this year. We're lucky again to have a great staff willing to come in and work during the summer, so we'll be fully funded with our staff for the summer program. So, what's that? So that's what busing and the cafeteria have been asking. So ours is based on failures, so in credit recovery, so we don't know until all these regions are graded and everything like that. We have a ballpark number in like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, but our high school it depends on these last couple of days here.
Some of them are really stretching it out.
So, and yes, so Mrs. Gums, if anybody knows her, she's a very private person. She's asked that we don't say anything, so obviously going to say a little bit and break her wishes, but very tough to replace a person like that, with that many years here and touch that many people. I had 30 and 40-year-old people coming in, and they'd be like, yeah, I was back in the area. Is Mrs. Gums still here? And have to bring her down to see Mrs. Gums, and she'd know who they were. But yeah, a huge loss for us. Very happy that she's going to be able to enjoy herself in retirement. Kind of go from there.
Now, do we have a sense of how many young people may not make it across the stage?
We have a couple. This year, it's a little bit different because we have a handful that need the Regents
I
diploma.
know, the very last one. Oh,
So, we took the algebra today, there was a couple that needed that. I think we have one in maybe chemistry. So, it'll depend on those.
We have Harry's next week.
Yeah. So, that's what we got.
All right, information technology.
All right. You guys haven't heard from me much this year, so I figured I'd cram it all into one day. But I'll try and keep it short. One thing that I wanted to highlight and bring up is we've launched our new website. I'm sure you've heard that was coming. If you haven't seen it, if you visited the website, then you've seen that the format and everything has changed. I'm not gonna obviously go through the entire website, just show you the front page and you can navigate through and take a peek at it. But right now, it's just a welcome page saying, take time to check the new website out. There's a link to the old website. If anybody's looking for any content that they may not be sure where it might be. But I think the format of the new website is a lot easier to navigate. It's a lot better organized in terms of going through what you might be, going through and finding what you might be looking for. District page that has pertinent information about, about the district, budget and taxes, how we communicate in the district. Board of Education page, I'm sure you guys are familiar with what's on the Board of Education page. Departments we've kind of broken down, again, in a little better of a tree in terms of where things are. For athletics, business office, all the district services and whatnot that we provide or have within the district. Then there's a parents and students section, so anything that pertains to parents and students, whether it be the calendar, again, you'll see some things that are duplicated in multiple spots, like in the district page, there's a communication page or chain of communication also. Resources that may be using, ClassLink is a platform that we're going to be moving to for next school year. Similar to Clever, same idea, but a lot more powerful in terms of what it can do and what it can do for us. Again, just resources that parents and students, they know when they need something, they go to this section and that's where they'll find it. Staff resources, same idea as parents and students, just more geared towards staff. And then of course, departments, it'll be broken out as well, furthermore, for what you're looking for in terms of those departments like food service, health office, IT, PPS, transportation, etc. Just kind of scrolling through the page itself, there's some quick link buttons for cafeteria menus. Takes us to our employment page, or that's not working, I gotta fix that.
It's broken.
But it'll take you to the tax collection page, school tools, staff directory. That's not working either.
We'll get it there.
Live demos.
Yes. But the site is live, so the pages exist. I think so what happened was our old website was pointing to the www.rcsd, and then now this new website is pointing, so the page names just changed, so we just got to rename where it was pointing to. But take a peek at the website. One of the things that I'll talk about next is Parent Square, which is also coming newly to the district. Some folks may have heard that, but the ability to take a post, and you'll understand more of this as I go through the Parent Square presentation, is taking a post through Parent Square, pushing it to our website, news, events, things like that, will also automatically get updated to our website as well as to Facebook if we so choose. I'll refresh this page and scroll down a little bit, kind of give you the most recent highlights. So this is all scrollable and automatically scrolls every 3 or 4 seconds. So you can see as events kind of come up, as Jason mentioned earlier, he goes through and tries to highlight things that are going on in the district. So you'll find those things in the live feed and news. Announcements, just a section that, again, things that we want more static, like the budget passing obviously this year, last month. And then again, this just takes us to the enrollment section for registering your student. a little more just about us and, so like I said, I won't go through the entire website, which could take, all of the rest of the night.
I will say I use the webpage more than the app. I don't find the app very user-friendly. But
So-
it might be me.
So which app?
This one. Well, I don't know, the app.
This one.
So that's the
Call
old,
her
that's the
technical
app
savvy.
for Apogee. We're
Yes.
abandoning
Okay.
that
Yes.
platform.
So that's
This is
next.
the new one.
No, that's cool.
So there's a new app.
So we're abandoning that app and then there's a
Okay.
new one.
Another one.
But it does all feed the same, the whole point is it's a consolidated communication channel.
Yep.
So that teachers can communicate with parents, so that we can communicate in groups, so that we can communicate to the website, to social media, all through a singular start point.
That was the idea behind our current / old system. It just didn't meet or cut the mustard, I guess.
Yeah.
And we were oversold.
Yes, yes. So the next piece is exactly that, what I'm gonna talk about. So Parent Square is that,
Comment on the website.
what's
I
that?
was playing around looking at it. It really looks good.
Yeah.
There's a lot there.
There
So
is.
appreciate it.
There is, absolutely. So Parent Square is kind of the, Parent Square is the overarching umbrella parent of the website as well. So Parent Square is a mass communication, unified communication tool. The website is part of Parent Square. They call it Smart Sites. And the idea behind Parent Square is that all of your communication needs are through one platform. Website, mass communications like emergency notification for snow days or school closures or, in the event that we have to call some sort of lockdown and we need to make an announcement to parents or whatever, there's an emergency button that you send and it sends out a phone call, email, a message, however you want to send it out. So Parent Square is that tool that Apogee was supposed to do for us. Apogee, I think, was on the newer side when we decided as a district, obviously before I got here, but it was sold in the same way that Parent Square was marketed, but they just never got to that point. Parent Square is something that I've been familiar with for several years. We implemented this in Cohoes City Schools 5 years ago during COVID. I don't know, I'm assuming every district had to do this, but you had to fill out health attestations. They were instrumental in helping us submit those attestations through the app, on the website. Literally launched it in the middle of COVID so that we can address a lot of those issues, and they were fantastic to work with. Everything that we needed, this handled. At that point, they didn't have the website piece. Now they do. But what is Parent Square? So Parent Square, again, is that mass communication tool. You can send and receive school-to-home communications, not just from the district, not just from the building, but also from the classroom level, as well as individual teachers. So parents can interact with each individual teacher. If they have a question on some sort of assignment or whatever, they can reach out to the teacher whenever they need to. Again, the teacher is obviously responding within their own business hours or during the day, during the school week or whatnot.
Will this be building-wide, the teachers using parent app? Will this be building?
It's available for everybody. Yep, it's 100% available for everybody. They'll be able to see these apps and messages and notifications through text, email, and the Parent Square app. So we're going to be launching a training for staff this coming Monday, and after that, we'll send out a notice to parents saying, hey, here's Parent Square, let's sign up for it. And
Can community members sign up for Parent
yes,
Square?
absolutely. So that piece isn't built out yet, but there'll be like a group that they can sign up for, so they can also be part of, notices that go out to the entire district as well as the community. Really, what Parent Square started years ago, it was actually designed by a parent because they got inundated with messages from email, from text, from whatever site that they signed up for, SurveyMonkey and all these things. So Parent Square came along and this parent created it to kind of consolidate all that into one place, into one app, into the website, everything kind of being that hub for all school communications. all of the data that comes into Parent Square is from School Tool, our student information system. So as long as we keep that up to date, all the parent information, phone numbers, email and everything will automatically update on that end. So it's not like we have to go to a separate database to update all the information. If the parent says, I need to update my phone number or whatever in Parent Square, it's not Parent Square that's doing it. We go to Tracy or potentially the main office, whoever, and, update that parent's contact information there. And then, go ahead.
I'm sorry, should have waited till you were done. I was just gonna ask, how's the security with it?
It's, again, in terms of,
Well, you're talking about you're gonna have contact information, and that's PII information.
correct.
How,
So all of this stuff is Ed Law 2D compliant, FERPA compliant. So it's all vetted out by, districts in the state, New York State Ed. So all that stuff is already protected. And that's something that we do for not just Parent Square, but any software that we purchase as a district, we have to make sure that all those requirements are met. Parent Square is probably the most widely used communication tool within New York State. And obviously they're all over the country as well. Again, the connection piece is from School Tool. What can it do really is kind of some of the things that Joe touched on. The mass and emergency communication it can do, text, email, phone, app notifications. School to home communication is two-way. So as I mentioned, when a teacher sends a message home, that parent can respond to the post. The teacher will be the only one to actually see that response, as well as initiate that two-way. Attendance notifications is another thing that it can do. Right now, we're using a separate system for attendance notifications, School Messenger. That'll be going away. This will take the place of that. The nice thing with this, and for anybody that has children in other districts that are using Parent Square, I think Fonda, Fultonville use Parent Square. The attendance piece is nice. Not only will it send out a message, email and phone call saying your kid's absent, on such and such day or for whatever period, the parent has a way to respond to that message and say, here's the digital or written excuse for that child being out, and Jay Faust in attendance will get that notice saying, here's the reason why, and then he can go into School Tool and update.
Does it track period by period or just the
It
day?
can.
Oh,
It can.
wow.
The one benefit, I helped all the parents try to get on the other one. To get on, it's like you put your phone number in, it identifies you, you confirm, it's like that. It's so much easier than just getting onto that and communicating.
So this could wipe out all the Class Dojos and all the
Correct.
multiple ones that I had.
Correct.
I still get notifications from Class Dojo.
I'm done with that.
Still.
So to that point, Class Dojo is not Ed Law 2D compliant, and we shouldn't be using that. So eventually, once we get everybody on this, correct.
So I was on to something.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So there are some schools that do use Class Dojo with a separate agreement, but what BOCES advised us is that when they get those districts to sign off on those agreements, they're highly edited and redlined, so that it's not the school district and state ed's language that is in that agreement, it's the vendor's language. So they're redlining that agreement before they sign off on it. And state ed BOCES said that that's at your own risk. So for that reason, we don't want to.
We don't like risk.
And again, integrating some of the things that are also on the website, we will look at the school calendars and events within the Parent Square dashboard and page as well. Reporting on communications, whenever you send a post out or a message out to parents through Parent Square, whoever's doing the posting or whoever you give rights to look at the communication statistics, you can see how many parents it reached, the numbers, not necessarily the numbers it went to, but did they actually get the message? Did it bounce? Was it, whatever the error message is when phone calls go out.
So all the people on Facebook would say, I never got that message, I never got that message, I never got that message.
Correct.
You'd be able to change and fix that? And then-
Correct. Correct.
Can we get a confirmation that it was received?
So as far as email is concerned, you will actually see that the email was opened or clicked.
Oh, that's nice. So
Yes.
they can leave us on red and we'll know.
Yes.
Email, you can text.
There's a way to send out surveys through Parents Square. I know that we've sent out a bunch of surveys using SurveyMonkey and things like that. And depending on the type of information that's coming back through that, again, this SurveyMonkey is not something that we have any sort of like, compliance with or security with, whereas this is covered. So any of that data coming back is guaranteed to be as much as it can be based on, state regulations and whatnot, that it'll be protected. I won't play this. It's a 3 or 4 minute video. You go to the parentsquare.com website. It just gives you an overview, kind of probably better than the way I put it.
Thanks for visiting Parent Square. Our goal is to help you stream.
This is just just kind of a snippet of different pieces and portions and what the pages look like within Parent Square. So think of it like Facebook for schools. It's not like a free-for-all like Facebook is. As I mentioned, if I send out a post, or if Joe sends out a post, or one of the teachers sends out a post, people can comment on it. By default, comments are off. And if you decide to turn on a comment for a post, the only person that sees those comments is the person that sent out that post. So other parents, other staff can't see the comments unless they have the abilities to see that. Parents will only see their own comments. So we have control over what people are commenting. And if there's something, off color, the only person that's going to see that is the person that originally posted it. And they can respond to that if there's a question or something like that.
Just ruined Peter's fun.
This is kind of highlighting some of the reporting features. Again, none of the posts that we put up there have gone en masse to anybody, because again, we haven't really launched it to parents, which will be next week. But when we see that, you'll see who it went to, who's opened it, how many emails, phone numbers, everything got reached. The second picture in the background, that's the attendance snippet. So that'll show you, how many kids were absent that day. If you look at the bottom right corner, that little note icon, that's the actual response that came back from a parent. This is not our instance. I stole this from one of the other districts that I worked at, just to kind of highlight that when they respond, we actually see that within the attendance report so that you can actually click on it and see what the parent said. My little Johnny was late because he had a doctor's appointment or whatever the case was. Just how to access it. It'll be on our website. Right now it just says coming soon. We'll activate that at the end of this week. The direct link, again, you won't necessarily need that. That's the URL address for our site. That'll be accessible from our website. But if you download the Parent Square app and log in, you'll be able to access all the data that's in there through the app.
So do they pick a preferred communication method, like email or
You can pick
text, or
any, and, or all. You can set notifications to be sent when the communication comes out, or you can set it to digest, which means that every night you get a list of all of the posts and messages at 6 o'clock.
Oh, then you can just do when you get that.
Yeah, you can turn off email notifications, you can turn off text notifications, you can turn off all of it if you don't want it, except for emergency notifications.
Right.
If an emergency goes out, everybody's getting it all at once. Anything else? Did you have a second question?
Oh, me? No, I think I'm all set.
Okay. And just how to reach support, obviously, for parents, they can email the help desk, which that'll be put on our website. Staff, we're gonna be asking that they submit tickets for it so that we can track what the issues are.
Is that link that it's currently is there, we're gonna have that renamed?
Which one?
That's our link, the
3515?
Parent Square with the District 355.
So it'll just be Parent Square, and they'll click on it and get to it.
Okay, so just, but what if you're coming in without a link? That's gonna be it?
So, what do you mean?
I thought we'd have like an alias.
So on our website, it'll be just the URL. So if you click on that, it'll take us right to our instance. That's just the way the Parent Square does it because it's hosted on their site.
Yep.
But if you just go to parentsquare.com and click login, it's gonna take you, based on your email and phone number, and everything, it's gonna take you to our site only.
Gotcha.
I lied, I do have another question. So is school tools still the way that you track that, and it integrates with this one? Or is
Correct.
that- Okay.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Is there any interface with transportation?
There is.
Some of the software companies do
There is.
with buses gonna be late
Yep.
and.
So it's not necessarily transportation or TransFinder, it's from School Tool. So TransFinder is the transportation piece.
Right.
Brad, updates TransFinder, and then that gets dumped into School Tool. From School Tool, that data comes into Parent Square with the AM, PM bus runs, whatever, bus E, daytime or whatever.
For schedule, but does it allow for
So if
Brad
the
to
bus is
send out a
late-
notice, all the
Yes.
buses are 10 minutes late?
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
That's very nice.
Thank
That'd
you.
be good.
Wonderful
efficient.
stuff.
Yeah, sounds great.
You've been a busy guy.
Another upgrade.
We like upgrades.
Yeah,
And save
Sylvia's been
discounts.
very busy.
Thank you.
Take Saturday off.
Maybe Sunday, because he did a really good job.
I'm off till Monday.
All right, yes, Danielle?
So some updates. So for special education, really after annual reviews are all set and we have an idea of projections, really just working to make sure that our classrooms are appropriately staffed to support the students and their needs, as well as making sure that the schedules align and fit and the numbers are in ratio and we can program for our special education students. We did have a meeting last week. Seems like everything is all set, so it should be set for the future. We had occupational therapist interviews about 2 weeks ago. This would be the first time an occupational therapist would be hired in the district to support all students rather than just the very specialized cohort of kids when we had to contract out very specialized or identified group of special ed kids who just needed direct services. This person can go and support interventions to everyone. I know we pushed forward to candidates to Mr. Kardash, and I believe he interviewed, and
I can
loved
speak
her.
to that.
So, what's that?
So we were unable to get one to respond,
Yes,
but the one that you said was your first pick
yeah,
actually interviewed very well.
I thought so too.
I just needed to complete and get the callbacks from the reference checks,
Great.
and if that works out, we're prepared to move forward with that.
That's awesome. She was my favorite. She has experience working with kids. She worked at the Langan School. So working with a full range of needs, populations. So I think she could have a lot to add, especially as the needs are changing of the students entering our district. I just thought she was fun. She had a great personality. I think she'll, get along well with everyone and do whatever we ask her to do. There's something, she's very fresh, very green. It would be her first job, and I think everyone deserves a first chance, right? So I think she'll have a great way, she has a great way about her. I think she'll do well with the department. So hopefully those background checks, and not background checks, but calls go well. See her on the next agenda. So for PPS, reverse mentoring, this was really great to watch. Ryan Kelly led this. I don't want to take it from Dom either, because it was a lot of high school kiddos, but it was this initiative where high schoolers, this group, high schoolers, they kind of went through our code of conduct and identified areas that could be worked on to help prevent issues and suspensions and repair the relationship after a suspension. And it was really, really impressive to have the students share their ideas on how we could, as adults, approach a situation or a conflict differently to help de-escalate them. And the fact that they had that awareness that if adults manage themselves differently, it would model how students could manage themselves differently and maybe just prevent suspensions all along. And then if they do occur, they were able to identify there typically are like a handful of kids that are suspended over and over again. So what are we doing for those handful of students? Are they just coming back and being thrown back in class, or are we doing something to really work with them, identify the problem, and hopefully, get them to a place where suspensions are no longer occurring? So I would encourage them, if they, maybe in the fall, get them together, maybe present here, because I was, again, very impressed by the way we were able to summer opportunities. I know a lot of them are focused on trainings for adults on how we approach students, and how we support their social emotional needs. So I do, there is a couple moments, there's going to be, a decision made whether or not I will continue here. Just for the record, I think my personal and my professional life details have been discussed. So I just want to go on record saying that I have loved the chance to get to know the families and the students here at Rensselaer. I fell in love with the community and the school immediately. And I've been honored to work with my colleagues. Jeff, Dom, Bob, you guys have been great to work with, a lot of fun. I appreciate you. And the teachers and the staff here are phenomenal. And they're just capable of really great things. And I hope the work that we have done together this year in some way, shape, or form can be continued. And we work to support our neediest students. And champion whatever their needs, make sure that they feel part of their own school. So.
All right, Tricia.
Hello. We're winding down in RTA. We just had our get-together this evening, end of the year get-together down at the Yacht Club. It was really nice. Jen Leonard, secretary, wanted everyone to know we recognized in our May meeting, our general meeting, the dedication to the district, 10 years, Kelly Klum, John Curran, Carolyn McCrae, 20 years, Megan Alonso, Kelly Connor, Mike Quinn, Kristen Crouch, Christina Lane, and Jackie Lindeman, and 30 years, Lori Britton Smith and Pam Goodwin. Also Jen Leonard, 8th grade English teacher, they attended the Valley Cats game on June 11th for their end of the year trip and they had a great time. Megan Alonso, 5th grade teacher, does the elementary school newspaper, and if you click on that link, you'll see a snippet of it. I don't know if it works or not, Sylvie, does it?
It's fun to read. It's fun, it's cute.
Yeah, they did a dedication to Mr. Bloor. It was really nice. And it looks really professional. They do a great job.
They do. She does a
Really
nice job
cute.
with them, yeah. And this is just a few many hours after school, like a few hours
Yeah.
after school each week, right? And you know, to have them for a short period to pull this together is great, right?
Yeah, it is. It's really nice. And then they continue that idea up in high school too, and they do the high school newspaper called The Rambler with Kristen Herrick, our 10th grade English teacher. And she does some great things with the kids, sends them around as reporters to interview people. It's really nice.
These young kids coming around to report an interview is great.
Isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
And the great questions that they ask are really kind of fun
You want to
sometimes.
go page by page on this, or
Pardon me, I'm sorry?
did you want to go page by page on it?
No, just a few things to show people, that's it, yeah. I don't know how much is there, to be honest with you. There you go.
Yeah, it's nice.
I don't know if that's able to be posted to the website at all, is it?
It should. Oh.
Is
It is posted on the
Is it?
website.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
And online, it is
Great.
posted.
I like that. Okay, continuing on, so Tessa Cat is our junior senior high art teacher on May 29th. She brought her mural class, Ashley Patterson, Emily Gerard, and Ja Pong, Gianna Santon, and Aliana flew to a field trip to the Boys and Girls Club to paint 3 murals on their empty spaces. So they packed up all the supplies and heating. They went to a location sight unseen. It was challenging, but she was beyond proud of the group. They are halfway finished with each mural. I think they actually finished the murals. And they're themed USA Pride, Rensselaer Rams, and Amtrak and Yankee Doodle.
Scott Biter, 8th grade science teacher. On Saturday, June 7th, 11 students from Rensselaer, Mr. Biter and Mr. Avalera, went to see the ESSEF X-Play VS Esports Championship and Invitational at Syracuse University. That's a mouthful. The kids had a great time getting college tours, experiencing high-level esports events, and playing and socializing and competing with friends, new and old, from across New York State. Thank you to the school board, administration, and school community for their support of that program. Rachel Aponte, the junior senior high chorus teacher, on Monday, June 2nd. Ms. Aponte and the middle school chorus joined 2,000 singers from schools all across New York State for American Young Voices at the MVP Arena in Albany, New York. This annual event is the largest children's choir in the United States. The children have been working hard since January to memorize all of the lyrics and choreography for the show. The students did an amazing job, not only with singing, but in representing Rensselaer School and the community. Next, Brad Andres, 5th grade teacher. His class is working on the end of the year financial literacy with math lessons. Some of the topics the students are learning are how to balance a budget. They could try to do mine. Maintain financial records, calculate sales and property taxes, understand the advantages and disadvantages of different payment methods, and understand credit card interest.
I wish somebody would have taught me that.
That's vital. No,
Seriously.
seriously, it's
I'd be
vital.
retired.
Finally, I have a few add-ons. So our retirees, Deb Sklar, she started here in 1998. Mary Lou started in 1978. So they are our retirees this year. We had a really nice retirement party, though I couldn't go, but I heard it was really nice. It was really nice for some people, just saying. Anyway. And then one last thing. So I do the ELA Regents exam every year, and we had a student who's a senior, and we were biting our nails because he is an ENL student. And he passed with a 79, so he's going to graduate. So I was like so happy about that. He's my one person I had to get over the bridge. And so we're done. We're finished.
Just passed, you got a 79.
You got a 79.
Yeah.
Like he fell out of our
Almost a
chair,
B.
like this. That was like awesome, yeah.
I think he friended me on Facebook.
Yeah, did he? Oh, did he? Yeah, I spent a week with him, like really intensely, like telling him what to do and how to do it and whatever. And so, yeah, it was great. I'm really proud of him. And that's it.
I have a side question, probably nobody may have the answer. Is there esports in college? You had mentioned that they went to. There is.
Scholarships
Okay.
for it.
That's what I was, yeah, you do get scholarships?
Scholarships.
I was just curious.
Right around with Legos and everything else.
Okay.
Still getting recruited for Warcraft.
Okay, I mean, do you, Jim?
How old am I? I said Warcraft.
Still there.
I was playing Warcraft.
He's trying to tell me what to do right now. I got it. So first of all, what happened to Corey Andrew today? Did you scare him off the earth?
No,
He's tired?
I should plug this. So he's got a bit part at,
Matt
Matt Caden Theater.
Okay.
And he's going to be in A Bronx Tale. And he wants everybody to go and see him. And so some of us are going
The
to see
lag
him.
was,
When is
And
that?
it's on July 12th.
I was really good when I got
Yeah.
over
Well,
that.
there's a range of dates though.
Okay.
Yeah, there
You
are
can't make that
range of
date.
dates,
It's
like
like a
the July
graduation
12th
party
is the one I think we're
It's like through the
going to.
20th or something.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I love to
Yeah.
understand. We'll go.
So he, he's all excited about that. So he has play practice every night now,
Yes.
so, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, before I move on,
Oh,
Jeff, I wanted to ask about, has there been a lot of interest in the summer program? There always has been, so is there a lot this year as well? I'm hoping.
I haven't, just in skimming it real quick, I would guess about 150.
Nice. Okay, great. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes.
I mean, I hear in the community, are you sending? They love, they're loving it. They really are.
No, the turnout's really good. I will say it seems a little bottom heavy. I think the primary grade levels we have are full classes.
Okay.
In the higher grade levels or intermediate, it might be more like 12 or 13.
Mhm.
But either way, I would say it's well over 100 for us at this point.
Nice. I'm so happy we can continue to do that. Wonderful. Yeah, great, thank you.
Jen, along those lines, I just want to say I had met with Kristen and Katie earlier today, and I had a similar question about our ESY enrollment, because we went from 3 classes to 2. But really, we only dropped a couple of students. What we had before was a different spread with the students that were, that by age, that needed different classes. We really knocked down that many. They reassured me we're
structure, they need to be learning a little bit more, they need to be reminded of what school is like, so it's really nice, it really is.
I think it's learning them more fun.
Oh, it's fun, yeah, it's
less
great,
rigid.
I love it, great, all right. Mr. Karadash, you're next.
So to tie a few of the conversations together, we finally have, we're not scraping by on the budget, and we're doing some good things with teacher PD, and we're getting ourselves focused academically to the point where we were able to, Megan actually proposed to me that let's add an administrator at this point because of the need, so thank you. So we added a director of curriculum and instruction. We had 43 applicants. It was a great, strong pool. We had a large hiring committee because there were a lot of people interested in it. And we came out to the end and we found Christy Radies right here. Welcome to the family. Did you want to just introduce yourself just a little bit? Because it's going to be starting in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, I'm Christy Rady. So I'm coming from Fonda Fultonville, where I was the Director of Curriculum and Instruction. Prior to that, I worked for several years at the State Education Department, where I led the Civic Initiative, and I created the Seal of Civic Readiness, which is an alternative graduation pathway where you don't need to take the Regents, but you do need to show evidence of making a positive difference in your community. So I'm so thrilled to come to Rensselaer, where it's really rooted in a foundation of civic engagement with students. I think that we can do a lot of great things through that lens. And prior to that, I was a social studies teacher for many years in Coxsackie, Athens. So I'm thrilled to come and join you guys and be a part of the team and get to hit the ground running in 2 weeks.
We're excited to bring you aboard.
Thank you.
The next one is invitations to visitors to address the Board of Education. Do we have any? Okay.
I'm sorry? You got info right here?
All right. Thank you. All right, what did you need to add?
I need to add a motion to accept the donation in the amount of $1,500 from the Alumni Association of the Hometown Heroes display. Okay, I have
Stacy and Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
So, before I ask to move the remainder balance of the agenda, I wanted to note to the board that there was an item in red that was added at the end. If you didn't see that, it should say, and it's just an additional health and wellness contract, typical every year for our parochial students that attend an Albany school district. So that's in red at the end, if you didn't see it before.
So,
All right, thank you. So I'd like the motion to move the remainder of the agenda.
so moved.
Peter, Stacy, all in favor?
Aye.
Any announcements? No, executive session. I'm going to motion that we go into executive session to do contract and personnel issues. Have a motion? Thank you, Jim and Peter, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I did want to say Marquis reached out, he apologized for the last minute of not getting here. Unfortunately, it looks like Marquis may have broken his foot today. So, he's at ortho, so he apologizes for not getting here. But unfortunately, he got there before they closed. So he apologized. Yeah. So, he said he apologized. Do you want to stay here or do you want to go?
Did you sign it?
I did want to bring.
I turned to Joe and I said, we're gonna have to see this.
I don't know who's going to do those Jackson children. Who's going to do those Jackson children?
I know.
I really don't know what's going to happen.
Sorry, I was trying to get up. You're welcome.
I'm scared now.
You don't have to hug me.
I will. You're in trouble.
Yeah, that's how it's. If you can bring it, it's Joe, unless you want to remove it.
It's okay, they don't make sense.
It's good to see you.